Will an economic crisis bring down the CCP? The legitimacy of the CCP hangs by a thread. Part 2. Hello everyone, welcome to the China Probe channel. I'm Lin. It's an honor to explore the latest China's focus topics with you. Today's theme concerns the current state of China's economy and how it may endanger the legitimacy of the Chinese Communist Party CCP's rule. To explain things clearly, this topic will be divided into a three-part series. This video is part 2. Focusing on the economic hardships faced by the Chinese people. First, although China's trade surplus has now exceeded $1 trillion, it is glittering outside but rotten within. Across various industries, salary cuts and layoffs have become widespread. In some provinces, doctors, teachers, and civil servants have even experienced delayed wage payments or paid at a discounted rate. Fiscal revenues in many regions continue to decline. Businesses are going bankrupt, the real estate sector is deteriorating, and foreign companies are pulling out across the board. Meanwhile, youth unemployment has surged. The number of indebted individuals has spiraled out of control, and scenes of begging and homelessness have appeared nationwide. Ordinary people's lives have become increasingly difficult. Zhang Yi, a columnist for Connie in 88, uses the wave of restaurant closures as an example. Although the catering industry once experienced explosive growth, its foundation is weak and competition is fierce. He notes that there are over 9 million restaurants nationwide, yet the actual consumer base is insufficient to sustain them. Mr. Liu, a scholar from Zhejiang, commented, "Domestic economic recovery is weak, middle-class assets have shrunk, civil servants are owed wages, and unemployment is among grassroots citizens. All this makes consumption more rational and restrained." In Guangdong, one of China's major economic provinces, news of company closures continues to emerge. Not only have small and medium-sized factories in Dongguan City halted production due to broken capital chains, but even large factories that had operated locally for decades have shut down, such as Tianhong Technology and Changrong Dongguan Toy Factory. One netizen commented, "Breakfast shops that relied on workers, convenience stores people visited after work, landlords living off rental income, overnight, their sources of livelihood were cut off. It's impossible to count how many families were affected." At the same time, foreign invested enterprises have been withdrawing, leaving commercial districts desolate. Mr. Lin, a Taiwanese-funded enterprise manager, said, "Taiwanese businesses are all looking for ways to pull out. Many equipment-intensive companies have shut down or relocated, with machines waiting to be shipped out. Those that haven't withdrawn usually have unspoken difficulties." Shenzhen in Guangdong has experienced similar developments. Once this light industry city was heavily dependent on migrant workers and attractive to job seekers, it has now grown quiet. Many people return home for the Lunar New Year and never come back. Wages in Shenzhen have fallen to around 4,000 Chinese yuan as the norm. Even so, many recent graduates cannot find jobs and compete to become food delivery workers. Not only men, but women as well, are taking delivery jobs. Yet overall order volumes have dropped sharply. Moreover, many brand name companies have withdrawn, vacant stores have increased, and business has become increasingly difficult. Shenzhen's housing prices, once out of reach, have repeatedly dropped for new developments. Listings of second-hand homes have surged, and prices change almost daily. Netizens have said, "Yesterday we were still at work. Today the factory is closed and the boss has run away." People used to talk about escaping Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, but not Shenzhen. Now it can't escape either. With a monthly salary of 4,000 Chinese yuan, how much is left after rent and utilities? Speaking of Guangdong, let's now turn to Shanghai. Long regarded as a barometer of China's economy, its prosperous commercial atmosphere and international image attracted countless tourists and investors. Now it has seen a marked decline in business vitality since 2023, becoming a microcosm of the nation's economic difficulties. For example, A 2025 CCN report stated that the vacancy rate at GD Plaza had risen to 25%, while the merchant turnover rate on Nanjing Road reached 30%. Many lament that the once glorious Oriental Pearl has truly declined. Where shopping malls were once packed on weekends, now the subway, restaurants, and clothing stores are empty. Even the usually crowded cafes are deserted. With many people unemployed and unable to bear high rents and living costs, they have chosen to leave. A female blogger said that 80% of small and medium-sized enterprises in Shanghai are barely holding on, and even companies with annual revenues in the tens of millions are operating at losses. Another blogger noted that cities in the Yangtze River Delta around Shanghai are aggressively recruiting talent, offering that anyone who starts a business there and signs a 3-year contract will receive direct financial incentives, along with free workspace and employee housing. Now let's look north. Around the turn of 2026, during the deep winter, temperatures in northern mainland China have fallen below freezing. Although Hebei authorities prohibit burning coal, many rural residents would rather endure the cold than turn on heating. One netizen said, "Heating with gas for one winter could cost a rural family more than half a year's income." Another angrily remarked, "All the harsh tactics are used on ordinary people. How many elderly people have frozen to death in nearby villages?" What about northeast China? The 3 northeastern provinces, Liaoning, Jilin, and Heilongjiang, are important industrial and agricultural bases. For years, the Chinese Communist Party has promoted the slogan, "Revitalize the Northeast," yet it has become little more than rhetoric. Local economies have collapsed, and many areas have turned into ghost cities. A blogger on X commented, "The Northeast is disappearing, turning back into the great northern wilderness. Stop boasting about revitalization. The people are fed up with empty promises." According to 2025 statistics, the 3 northeastern provinces rank among the bottom 3 nationwide in birth rates, while their divorce and mortality rates rank among the top 3. Observers point to a key reason: the Northeast is where the CCP system has been implemented most thoroughly. One netizen said, "They loved the CCP the most and never forgot to praise it wherever they went, yet in the end, they were let down by it." These are the conditions across different regions. Since young people represent the future of a nation, let us now focus on China's youth. In some major cities, more and more people are sleeping in parks, under overpasses, and near subway entrances to save money. Data show that by the end of May 2025, approximately 24.1 million people in China were homeless, 5.3 times the number in 2020. Even more alarming is the trend toward younger homelessness. 61% are under 33 years old, including food delivery workers, the unemployed, and recent graduates unable to find jobs. For example, 22-year-old delivery worker Xiao Li moved from a rural area to Hangzhou to work. To save over 1,000 RMB in monthly rent, he set up a tent under a bridge. A 2025 graduate in advertising design from Shanghai bluntly stated that for today's college students, job hunting has gone beyond involution and entered hell-level difficulty. He cannot find a job and mentioned that his friend, who holds both bachelor's and master's degrees from Zhejiang University, did not receive a single offer during the autumn recruitment season. Chinese youth once feared falling behind at the starting line. Now, more and more of those born in the 1990s and 2000s find that the track itself is disappearing. When work cannot sustain life and trust in the system, industries, and the future collapses, choosing not to marry or have children becomes a natural decision. For them, life is not paused, but completely frozen. Rising living costs are squeezing young people's choices, giving rise to what psychology calls the social loafing, when individuals feel that no matter how hard they try, it makes no difference. They choose to lie flat to maintain psychological balance. Thus, lying flat and rat people are no longer internet jokes, but a forced survival state. Some commentators argue that the extreme monopolization of resources by the CCP's privileged class, along with the effective closure of upward channels, is steadily weakening young people's willingness to stay in China. For example, a young man born after 2000 chose to go abroad in 2025, saying that even if he managed to find a job, it would mean trading his health and time for meager, unstable income. Another netizen said he would either switch careers to become a caregiver in Australia or join the French Foreign Legion. He bluntly stated that young people are left with only three options: lie flat, involvere, or emigrate. The first two paths are blocked, and even the window for emigration is rapidly narrowing, leaving only the urgency to escape. Recently, a term has become popular, the kill line, referring to how America's middle class, lacking sufficient safeguards, can easily fall into irreversible decline. One step further and they are eliminated by society. Ironically, while the CCP promotes this concept, reports have exposed the lack of social relief in China, leading unemployed youth to survive by scavenging through trash bins. And no matter how flawed America's welfare system may be, it is still better than China's. If China's economic downturn continues, it may witness an even harsher version of the kill line phenomenon than America. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Please press like, share, and subscribe. Your support is my greatest motivation. Feel free to leave your comments below. See you next time.